Think about this. The same cup of coffee means something totally different to a Gen Z, a millennial, and a boomer. For one it's identity, for another it's convenience, and for the older lot it's a small treat after years of discipline. That small difference is rewriting how brands fight for your wallet. Generational change is not just about slang, music, or fashion. It's about money. Who spends where, how often, and why? In India and across the world, Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, and boomers all have distinct ways of looking at spending. These choices shape entire markets, from groceries to gadgets to luxury cars. When one group shifts its habits, whole industries feel the tremor. Today, we'll take a closer look at each generation, how they approach money, and what pressures guide their choices. And finally, we'll circle back to the question that always sparks debate: who is actually better at spending money? Let's start with millennials, because in India this group is right in the thick of big life transitions. Many of them are balancing rising rents in metros, EMIs on cars or apartments, and the responsibility of children. At the same time, they're the first generation that places major value on experiences, travel, food, events, sometimes even over material possessions. This generation grew up during the Great Recession globally, and in India they faced rising costs without equivalent salary jumps. That's why flexibility rules their decisions. Month-to-month subscriptions, reward-based credit cards, and the rise of second-hand platforms like OLX all reflect this mindset. But here's the interesting part. While millennials don't spend as impulsively as Gen Z, when they do spend, the ticket size is bigger. Buying a new smartphone after 2 years of waiting, planning a holiday abroad, or investing in a new piece of furniture, they think it through and then commit. Inflation squeezes choices, but instead of shutting down spending, they hunt for upside, perks, points, bundles that cover a whole need instead of adding small micro-costs. Now step into the world of Gen Z. Born into smartphones, they don't just shop, they live online. Their purchases are often influenced by creators on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok. According to multiple reports, more than 40% of Gen Z has bought something directly through a social platform in the past month. Identity plays a central role here. Buying a particular brand of sneaker or subscribing to a niche streaming service isn't just about utility. It signals who they are, or at least how they want to be seen. This is why buy now pay later schemes are so popular with them. Ownership matters less than access. A monthly subscription, an EMI-based luxury item, or a limited edition drop gives them a sense of belonging in a community. There's also caution. Gen Z doesn't love debt in the traditional sense of big loans, but they are comfortable with short-term flexible debt like BNPL. The bigger challenge for them is irregular income. Many are still exploring careers, freelancing, or combining side hustles with studies, so spending can look lopsided. Splurges on smaller items online, balanced by restraint on bigger investments. Gen X is often the quiet middle child in these conversations, but their influence is huge. In the US, data shows Gen X households account for over a third of consumer packaged goods and general merchandise spending. In India, this group is now entering a stage where children have grown up and left home. This shift changes spending priorities dramatically. With fewer dependents, they can redirect budgets toward themselves, pet care, hobbies, and wellness. They spend less on groceries, household products, and school-related costs, but more on lifestyle. In many ways, they are the bridge, digitally savvy enough to shop online, but still attached to in-store experiences. They also represent stability in markets. They're not experimenting wildly like Gen Z, but they're not as conservative as boomers either. If millennials stretch for experiences and Gen Z spends for identity, Gen X balances both. Boomers are at a very different stage. After decades of building assets, many boomers own homes, have retirement savings, and in India, they may also rely on children for support. Their spending reflects a shift towards stability and wellness. Healthcare, travel, and products that align with clean living dominate their budgets. Interestingly, boomers are the most likely to check product labels, nutrition information, and avoid chemicals. They're careful, but they're also willing to reward themselves. A leisure trip, a nice dinner, or investing in comfort-focused products like ergonomic furniture isn't unusual. Digital adoption has grown among boomers, but what they value most is trust. They want clear refund policies, transparent fees, and human support when things go wrong. Brands that offer this clarity win their loyalty. A small example is online pharmacies. Boomers were among the fastest adopters, but only after platforms demonstrated reliability and customer service. Now, despite all these differences, there are pressures that bend every budget. Housing costs are rising everywhere. Medical expenses outpace wage growth. Interest rates remain high, reshaping how people think about loans for cars or homes. Travel has returned after the pandemic, but with sharper price sensitivity. Loyalty programs and reward points matter again. People are not avoiding travel, but they are squeezing more value out of each trip. And then there's side income. Across generations, from Gen Z freelancers to boomers renting out property, extra income streams are becoming the norm. It's no longer about just one job or one pension. It's about building cushions against shocks, whether that's through reselling goods, investing in skills courses, or freelancing gigs. For companies, understanding these differences is survival. Speak to the moment each group lives in, and the card opens. Boomers respond to clarity and guarantees. Put real people on support lines, publish fees up front, and make refunds simple. Millennials value flexible terms and rewards that compound. Offer pause buttons on subscriptions, fair trials, and and perks that stack across the year. Gen Z looks for community cues and visible promise-keeping. If you mess up, fix it publicly. If you claim sustainability, show the receipts. Across all ages, one truth holds: reduce uncertainty. Transparent totals calm nerves. Clear exit options build confidence. Reliable delivery earns repeat business. So, who is better at spending money, Gen Z or Millennials? It depends on what better means. If better means careful, long-term oriented decisions, Millennials take the crown. They usually spend less frequently, but when they do, it's for bigger, intentional purchases. They're also more likely to invest in mutual funds or SIPs. If better means agility, adaptability, and embracing new models, then Gen Z leads. They're the ones trying out BNPL, digital-only banks, or new shopping platforms. They may splurge impulsively, but they also walk away quickly if a brand disappoints them. Boomers and Gen X don't fit neatly into this competition, but their role is no less important. Boomers shape the healthcare and wellness markets. Gen X quietly dominates general merchandise and lifestyle products. At the end of the day, money reflects lived reality. Gen Z experiments, Millennials look for flexibility, Gen X adapts to life transitions, and Boomers protect stability while rewarding themselves. No single generation is better. They're all simply spending in ways that make sense for their stage of life. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Gen Z is smarter with money because they're willing to try new things? Or are Millennials better because they value stability and plan long term? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you've argued about this with friends, share this video with them and settle it once and for all. Every rupee tells a story. For Gen Z, it's about identity and access. For Millennials, it's about flexibility and value. For Gen X, it's about shifting priorities as life changes. And for Boomers, it's about wellness and comfort after decades of work. Understanding these patterns isn't about picking winners. It's about seeing how the world is evolving, one purchase at a time. See you in the next one.